Leanne, if I could ask you to educate me a little bit about the more specific parent involvement strategies that you have worked on in Lewiston Public Schools. What's going on with respect to supporting parents and supporting their children's education here?
What happens right now is, of course, many families have, those who are fortunate to have two adults, they're working. We have used a lot of technology. For example, from grades 3 on now, parents can see all the students' records on the internet. Okay? We use a system called PowerSchool, and they can see school attendance, they can see teacher comments. Not that we want that to replace the one-to-one, but just look how kids communicate today. And you know that the world we live in, we need to be maximizing technology. We also set up opportunities for parent conferences, and particularly now, I think in Lewiston, I think we bring on board maybe 25, 30 interpreters every time we have parent conferences because of our ELL students to make sure that we communicate there. We have guidance counselors who track very closely academic achievement of students, call parents, try to get conferences. We contact parents about free summer school. We're probably one of the only systems in the state that provides free summer school. We have about 400 kids a year that attend summer school, just at Lewiston High School and the middle school. And we also have a program in the elementary. We work at the community base where we have a 21st century grant where we provide homework support and some appreciation of the arts after school. And we try to provide transportation, work with parents, staff, and support for students. But this piece that I'm talking about is what we have, I guess, is not a lot of conversation going on with parents and where students are going academically, what their goals are. The school does it. We try to involve the parents, but it's a work in progress. And I believe a lot of it has to do with how we live from a societal point right now. And many believe, I guess many of us sometimes get the sense that students are dropped off at the school and fix them, you know, make them go to college, make them do this, make them do that. And it's got to be a partnership. And as I get back to the partnership, is not only the parent, particularly when you deal with parents of poverty, their goals and ambitions aren't there. The aspirations are pretty low. So from a societal point of view, I know what Androscoggin for College for Me Androscoggin is promoting. We're doing this kind of guerrilla marketing now where everywhere you go in the cities, we're going to be think college. And I think it's that type of mass communication we're going to have to do to try to promote learning, particularly in Androscoggin County that has one of the lowest college degree standings in the state.
I don't have an easy way to answer your question, in part because I've spent the last 30 years of my life working with an organization that supports parent organizing in the New York City school system, particularly in the schools most poorly served. Phil, I think I'd say two things in response to your question about parents. One, the way that we've structured not only education, but also society in the U.S. As you move up the socioeconomic scale, parents have more capacity to actually choose the kind of education they want for their kids. Right? And so a parent in a poor neighborhood in New York City is up against a power imbalance that their equivalent in the New York City suburbs isn't. And that's been a reality. What troubles me is that the advocates of choice propose to change that. And in the process, I think they transform parents into consumers of education rather than participants also admit that the huge problems of the traditional ways that we've structured education in the U.S. may not treat parents as consumers, but often doesn't treat them at all or pay any attention to them at all. So for me, it's a dilemma. I work on the organizing side, and I watch the parents that I work with being pulled and torn when a new charter school opens in their neighborhood, and they consider whether they should put their children in the lottery or not, which is why I urge you to see Waiting for Superman. I think that neither end of the dilemma is satisfactory, but I think what we're also on the cusp of is losing the notion of what a public school system might be for all children, as opposed to a highly differentiated system which uses marketplace principles to determine what kids will get.
Let's take another question.
Yes, I have a question for Mr. Davis. You mentioned that the celebration of scholarship is severely lacking, and I just wondered what you had in mind to celebrate scholarship more and what you think should be done.
I guess what I was referring to is back to the 50s and 60s when we, from nationally, wanted to set a challenge for our country. People kind of rallied around that. And I don't see that rally, for some reason, around education and learning. I see it more about penalizing and identifying failure. And to me, that's not a great motivator. When you look at No Child Left Behind, every school has 51 ways or more to fail. We ought to be looking at 51 more ways to succeed, or celebrate what that is and build teamwork and celebrate achievement. And we constantly look at ways to say you're a failure. And I think that demoralizes people. And I just look at our adolescents today, and I think if we're going to compete nationally or want the education system that we're talking about, we need to elevate from a national perspective scholarship, recognize it, celebrate it, and give it that standing that I believe is recognized in other countries. That's all.